So my choice to leave Christianity and leave religion as a whole was really to save my life. I always felt like I was constantly trying to fight against my nature, fight against things that were coming natural to me, gifts that were coming natural to me, understandings and knowledge that literally just made sense on site. So the institution that I grew up in did not really encourage a lot of education outside of the Bible and outside of that institution. And there were some people from old school philosophies that were saying you didn't even need to go to college, you didn't need this kind of education, because they moved from a premise of exposure. Exposure is a gateway. Exposure will lead them out. And you know what? They were correct. And that was why it always felt like they put you in this box, gave you what they wanted to give you, and you had to choose from that. And that's not really a choice. And once I started realizing that, all that I've ever been exposed to is what you wanted me to be exposed to, or what you taught me to be comfortable to be exposed with, because I absolutely was taught a line that on the other side of this line is the devil, on the other side of this line is hell, on the other side of this line is damnation. Well, I dared one day to step on the other side of that line, and I didn't find any of that. What I did find is peace, because I no longer was denying or fighting or trying to suppress or villainizing who I was, what I can do, what I love doing, what I enjoy doing, what I'm good at doing, and what I've always been able to do. What's interesting is that people that grew up with me, my childhood friends, who I am today is not a surprise to them, because who I am today is who I've always been. When you're with your friends, of course, they get a different level of comfort. They get a different level of, because your friends aren't going to beat you up. Your friends are not going to throw you on the altar. And my parents weren't like that. My parents were not like that. My parents were not like that. But then when we went into church, the church was like that. And so I had a video that I posted earlier this week talking about me mimicking the church. And I absolutely mimicked, but I mimicked for protection. I mimicked so that I would be not detected. I mimicked so that way I blend in. I thought I was gonna blend in. But it's really interesting, because as much as I tried to mimic, there were some people that would be like, Thank you to those people that always saw me. Thank you so much. But I think why I'm sharing this is because as a bipolar, I noticed that I would spiral more upward. I would spiral more in manic. I would be thrown into manic situations, manic moments, manic weeks, manic days, when I wasn't being myself, when I was feeling like I had to hide something, when I was feeling like something that I was doing was wicked or bad or a sin, when I felt like, because I often would go through these religious psychosis moments where I would be very repentant and on my knees and just apologizing for being who I was, apologizing for reading those things, apologizing for knowing this stuff, apologizing that I couldn't get it out of me. I would beat myself up so bad, because I felt defeated, like this is never gonna stop. I'm always gonna be tormented with this. This is gonna be a fight that I'm always gonna have to have for the rest of my life, because I know this stuff, I believe this stuff, I feel this stuff, I wanna express this stuff, but you're not supposed to express this stuff, because this stuff is wicked. It's not Bible, it's not Jesus, it's not the Holy Ghost, it's something else, it's a demon coming through, it's this. And when you're telling a child that these are demons coming through, what did you expect? How did you expect a child to articulate that and to interpret that? So you're basically interpreting, as a bipolar, by the way, that the things that you naturally are demonic. The things that you're tapping into are naturally demonic. And I'm gonna tell you, that just was a level of misery that I no longer wanted to be in. That was a level of tug of war, of torment, that I laid down in 2019. I was not gonna fight anymore. I was tired. I was tired of fighting. I was tired of fighting what was calling me. I was tired of fighting what resonated with me. When I say calling, I don't mean like some voice calling. I mean resonation. If you've studied the law of resonation, that means that I love the example of a violin, because I'm a violinist. And the violin has a string on the violin that is an A string, A, the key of A, the note of A. If I have my violin in this room and somebody in another room plays A, slowly there'll be an ever slight hum that the string on my violin in a whole different room will resonate and it hum A, because it's communicating with the other string that's saying A. Resonation is things that are alike. Things that are alike start to hum, they start to vibrate. They'll find each other wherever you go. And I just started resonating stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, to a point where it wasn't that I couldn't ignore it. I decided that I wasn't gonna ignore it anymore, and that I was gonna operate in flow and stop choking the living water that was inside of me, the flow that was inside of me. I flow very heavily in my feminine energy. And if you can imagine just how unfortunate it would be to dam off and close a lake, a fresh lake. That's what it felt like with me. It felt like it was damming off and closing something that wanted and needed to flow through me. It wanted and needed to flow through me. There would be no way that I could be who I am today. And who I am today, by the way, I am in love with. Obsessed. I like her a lot. Like, this version of me, I've loved me, but this version of me is deep. She's deep. And I don't want to share her. She's deep and I don't want to share her. That's how much I'm possessive, right? There will be no way for me to have been this version of myself had I stayed in Christianity, had I stayed in the old belief systems and the old patterns that I was in. There would be no way. And I love her so much, I wanted to give this version of me an opportunity to live. And I'm so grateful that I did. Things definitely change, relationship-wise, because when people meet you at some points in your life, they make an agreement and they meet you and they enter into friendships with you as you are at that moment. And sometimes there are some relationships that will not last shifts. There are some relationships that will not last frequency changes. There are some relationships that will not last personality changes, and that's okay. That doesn't make them a bad person. That doesn't make the friendship worthless. It served a purpose in the season that it was supposed to serve. And then you allow yourself to shift so that you can get another set or one or two. You really only need one. You really only need one good one, one good rider, right? I'm fortunate. I have many. I'm very fortunate. But for me, this is the reason why, and I have more reasons, and I'll share more, but I wanted to share that first one, that the reason why I felt like Christianity and church and God was not the right path for me, because it made me feel like something outside of me knew better than me. And I don't believe anything knows better than me. Nobody on this world knows me like I know me. Nobody out of this world knows me like I know me. Nobody in or out of this world cares about me the way that I care about myself. Nobody. And so I like that I've taken on the responsibility of myself. I like that I've taken on the responsibility of emotional regulation. I like that I've taken on the responsibility of, come what may, it's on me. I take care of it. I like that. Even in the most stressful times, if you're going to be stressful with Jesus, stressful without Jesus, what does it matter? You're going to be stressed anyway. You're going to have to work through that. And you're going to have to learn how to work through that. And me learning how to work through that independently has been very powerful for me. Me learning how to work through things without delegating some of the responsibility to somebody else has been very, very empowering for me. And it was what I needed. So please don't ever misconstrue that I am disrespecting anybody's belief system, because wherever you find strength is where you should go, and your life should reflect that strength. My life reflects the strength that I now have, and it is a beautiful life, and I love myself. I love every piece of myself, and I love what I attract as this version of myself, much more than what I was attracting when I wasn't this version of myself. I am at peace. I no longer have a war inside of me. I no longer have things throwing me into manic situations. I no longer have the conversations of how anything that I do or anything that I think or anything that I am is sinful, is against an authority, is gonna send me to hell. I don't have any of that torment anymore. And for me, that makes life sweeter. This is what I felt like I needed to do for myself. And I'm grateful for the decision that I made every day. There is not one day since that I have been ungrateful for the decision that I made to step away from that, to step away from a God outside of myself and believing in that. There's not one day that I've ever regretted stepping away from the church, from Christianity, from denouncing. There's not been one day that I have felt like maybe I should go back or maybe I should try it again. There has not been. And that's it. I just wanted to share that. I will be telling more about, why I made that choice for me, why it was best for me, and really the happiness, the peace, and the success that I have had outside of that. Because I want people to know that you have a choice. You always have a choice, right? And your choice is not heaven or hell. That is not the choice. If that's the choice, that's an ultimatum. Your choice is what you believe in. Your choice is what you get to find strength in. You have a choice to find where you have strength. And there is no punishment associated to finding that strength. There is no punishment for the journey. There is no punishment like that. There may be consequences, right, for some journeys, but there is nothing outside of you punishing you saying, nope, go back because this is the wrong. It's not like that. Whatever you think could happen on the other side, I guarantee you the best things of life are on the other side of fear. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. And I'm grateful for myself that I did that for myself. I gave myself a chance. I gave myself the opportunity to find out what was on the other side. And I'm grateful every day that I did. So I love myself. I love you all. I'll open up the comments for a little bit, but if they get crazy, because it's my platform. Bye.